Hello, Ron Briggs, Blackmore Vale Honey, and welcome back to the channel. Houston, we have a problem. We have got lots and lots of wax to be rendered. Let me show you. These boxes, all these boxes here, a lot of those have got frames of wax in, which need to be rendered. There's all these boxes have got frames in that need to be rendered. More frames there. That's full of wax in there, look. That needs sorting. There's boxes and containers of wax there that need sorting out. There's all them frames. So I've got all this wax to render and melt down, and my old handmade DIY steam wax melter is sadly no longer with us. So how on earth am I going to get it all rendered? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy myself a new steam wax melter. And here it is. So we picked this up from the Honey Show. It's from Techtron UK, and that's what this episode's all about. We're going to get this thing opened and we're going to give it a review. So first off, as always, I think it's only fair to say that I'm not sponsored in any way. I'm not received this for free. It's not on a trial. I have purchased this and I like to do that because if I purchase it, I can then give you a completely honest, unbiased review of the equipment. So the reason I've gone for this one is because I wanted a steam generated one, and I've used Techtron UK before. So I have this theory that if you buy cheap, you're going to buy twice. However, with Techtron, that doesn't quite work because I've had a warming cabinet, as you've seen, and I've done the review, and I've had the uncapping table, and both of those bits of equipment have been excellent. And the after sales service that Darius gives you out there at Techtron UK has been brilliant. So based on that alone, I've had a little shop around, a little look at what is available, but I've decided to use this company again. So the first thing we need to do is get this thing unwrapped and set up. So I'll get on and I'll get this off and then I'll show you what it looks like set up. So there we have it. So all I have simply done at the moment is removed all the packaging and dropped the 4 legs. And the legs for it they are adjustable, but you just adjust them to the top. Because this is like the ideal height that you want it, and also you can use this thing with a gas burner, so you can put a gas burner underneath, and the set to the top where the legs are is just right. So I'm on flat level ground, but what I am going to do is just double check with a spirit level that's all nice and flat, and then on advice from Darius at Techtron UK, once it is, just tighten these up as hard as you possibly can. Yeah. Tighten them as hard as you possibly can and it won't go anywhere. So let's have a little look around it. So this is the, as I said, it's Techtron UK, and it's the 3 kilowatt steam wax melter. And you can use either electricity or you can use gas, although you would have to buy the gas and the gas burner separately. So, so it comes with 2 1.5 kilowatt heaters. And that's the controls for each of them, and then it's just a cable that connects into there, which can go into your plug socket, which I'll talk more about in a moment. So you've got your spout, which your wax will come out of, and I quite like this. This has been stuck on this Techtron UK. I like that. And then on the other side, it's just got a place where you can top up the water, and then on the inside, which you just get to by opening the 2 catches, one on each side, and you lift it up, and on the inside you've got your basket, and there's the cable, and that's pretty much it. I'll show you how you set it up when you remove the basket and what have you, but that's pretty much all it comes with, and that's all you need to know. There is no instructions with the wax melter. That said, you do get verbal instructions, because when you purchase anything, Darius is almost obsessed with the fact that he tells you exactly how to use it, and he will he will dumb it right down. He doesn't. It doesn't matter how much, you know, he's not being rude, he's not being anything else. And I quite like it. I really do like it. Look, tell me how to use this thing and keep it really simple for me. And that's exactly what he does. So there's no written instructions, but with this, it's not that difficult. You put water into a certain level, switch it on, and away you go. But there's a few things you need to be aware of, which he has informed me. And the first thing is, it's a 3 kilowatt supply. So 3 kilowatts is a lot going through a circuit. And if you look at it, I've been doing some research, and you don't have to have a dedicated cable. You know, like an oven, or if you have like an 8 kilowatt shower, you have to have a different size cable, and it has to be on its own circuit, etc. This does work off a household circuit, household plug socket, but it needs to be dedicated ideally. So I can get, so in my honey house, I've got one switch for lights and one switch for sockets. So if I've got nothing on at all, absolutely nothing on in the honey house, then I can use this without a worry. But what I am going to do, just to be on the safe side, is son-in-law is a electrician, is that socket on the wall, I'm going to give that its own circuit breaker, which should be really simple for me. Before I actually push this against the wall, because it's going to live in the corner there, that's where it's going to live. But before I do that, the first thing I want to do is get all this protective film off. And if it's anything like all the other stainless steel stuff I've had, it's a nightmare, and it needs a hairdryer and some heat to do it. So let me get all that off, put into position, and then I'll come back. Right, so we've got all that protective film off, and I have to say actually it's quite easy on this to get it off. Usually it's really difficult. You have to use a hairdryer and warm it up, but it come off really, really easy. It was cut nicely around all the major components like this, so it was easy to get off, but it wasn't cut around the handles, but it's really, really easy. It's a 10mm bolt. It's much easier, trust me, to whip the bolt, to whip the handle off to remove the film. And as an aside, as not part of this review, but I don't know if you've ever seen these. So 10mm spanner seems to be the most common spanner that I use. And I wanted to sort of have one in the honey house, one in the workshop, one in the van, that sort of thing. So I bought another one, and I happened to come across this. It's one that's got a ratchet on one side, a 10mm ratchet. Brilliant, brilliant bit of kit. Made that really, really easy. Anyway, I'm digressing. So we've got those off. We've got all the film off. So now it's just a case of getting it put in position. So we'll get on and do that. Okay, so following morning, first thing I need to say about this is what I did last night. I went onto the Techtron UK website just to make sure there was I hadn't forgotten anything to tell you about this. You know, maybe get some more info, like, you know, it's 1mm brushed stainless steel, that kind of stuff. And there's a link that says accessories. So I clicked the link onto the accessories, and so what I said to you yesterday about there is no instruction manual, there is, and it was on there. So I've downloaded it. When I say an instruction manual, it is one sheet of paper. That's all it is, sheet of paper. In fact, if I leave that there, you can have a quick read of it. But basically, it says exactly the same as what Darius has already told me, and a lot of it's common sense. But it's this piece here in bold, which talks about the electrical, which we spoke about yesterday. Saying about, you know, about it being a 3 kilowatt, and it needs to have its own consumer unit, etc., which we covered yesterday. It tells you how to use it, and then it tells you about the dimensions, and it's also tells you about when you first use it. You know, how you use it, how you heat it up, how long it takes, that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go into all that, because if you want to, you can go on the website, go onto accessories, and you can have a little look at that. So that is that then. So the other thing I did do last night though was put it in position and got it set up kind of ready to use using spirit level. So in actual fact, because I'm on level ground, it was all pretty much level as it was. So let me show you inside first of all. Well, I'll show you that we are level all the way around. You can see that we're level that way. And So we are pretty much level all the way around. Now once you've got it level, then these need to be tightened really tight. Don't worry about over tightening them. Hand tight, mind. I wouldn't use anything mechanical on it because you'll probably break it. But yeah, literally hand tight, and then that won't go anywhere. The only other thing I've done is I've put the cable in. You just line it up and this bit screws down. It's quite straightforward. And then that's it. So if you have a look on the inside, you can see all it is a water heater, really. You've got two really big elements in there that heat up the water. And then what we have to do is the first tray that's in there is this one. And with this tray, it's got a nozzle on the end. Well, that nozzle needs to line up with the nozzle that's on the front. So I'll get that put in. It is relatively easy to do. Like that. And then that sits on these two bars. There's a bar there, the back of it sits on, and then a bar at the front, and you've got to just make sure the nozzle goes through the hole like that. Now, you might be thinking, well, actually, if it's all level, how's the wax going to pour out the front? But that's already part of the design because the tray, the back, is higher than the front. So when you put the spirit level on, yeah, you can see that it's higher at the back, so that'll make it pour out. So anything you've got to do is make sure it's level that way. Otherwise, all the wax will congregate in the corner. And that's it. And then on top of that, we got the basket, which can take up to 15 frames. This thing wiggles a bit, so you sort of wiggle it up like that when you want to lift the basket out, and it just sits back in like that when it's in. So that's us pretty much set up and ready to go. Now, I'm fortunate that I've got solar, so we've batteries, so we put an extra couple of hours into the batteries last night to charge those up, and the sun was out all morning, and it's still quite bright, so now is a good day for us to actually use the wax melter. So yeah, let's get on, get it filled up, and get it going. Okay, so I'm going to take this back out again, the tray. Because first thing we've got to do is put some water in here. Now, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to get some hot tap water to start with and fill this up. So it just brings it to the boil quicker when we switch it on. So the level that it needs to be filled up to is just below this, just below the height of that. And then on the other side here, this is where you can top it up from. Through here, you can keep the water topped up. You can see there's these two ridges. You've got one there and one there. Well, the water level, because the water will come through this pipe and stay at the same level as inside the actual melter, wants to be about halfway. All right. Right, let's get some water then. So we now need to fill it up with some more water, and I'm going to be using hot water straight from the tap, so it boils quicker. So I've already put 2 bucket loads in because it needs, I've showed you before where the height needs to come to. So, and I know on my buckets, each one of these buckets is 11 litres. So we've got 22 litres in there at the moment. I know on these buckets, just below the level of the lip there, that is 11 litres. So that's 33 litres in there. And that's 44. And I would say we're not a million miles away now. So one more bucket load, I reckon. Okay, and that last bucket was around about 6 litres. That's 50 litres. And if I show you inside. So, and we are just, the water's just touching this plate here, look. And it's below that plate. And if we look in the in here, we can see where the water level is. So we can now get an idea. It's about here, isn't it? So that's the level we kind of need it topped up to. And we have bought some water ready to do that. Right, so now we need to get the tray back in. And when you put the tray in, the tray won't fit square. Okay, so it needs to sort of go in at a little bit of an angle. You push that through the hole and it just sits in quite easily. So look, it's a slight angle. And then when you get it in, that goes in the hole. that drops in there a treat. Right. Right, so what we need to do, I think, is bear in mind we put the 50 litres of hot water in here. We've now just switched it on. Let's see how long it takes. It's now exactly 11:30. So 11:30, we'll see how long it takes to boil up and the first lot of wax to start coming out of the tube. Incidentally, when it comes to the wax coming out the tube, it's already got some water in it, so I probably overfilled it just a bit too much, but that's absolutely fine because you need to put a little bit of water in your container. The same as, I don't know if you've melted wax before, but if you're going to put it in a bucket or anything like that, put a bit of water in first because that'll stop it sticking on the bottom. And the other thing is I've put it up, I don't know if you can see that. We've just put it up on a crate, and these, I find these really good. These old chocolate containers are really good for wax. Or buckets or anything. So I've just put it up on there, so the distance between the spout and where the wax is going has been reduced, because I find that on previous things I've used is that obviously as it starts to come out there, it's going to cool very, very quickly, and you want it really to be in a liquid state when it goes into your container. Okay, so I have now filled up my basket, and it says on the website that you can get 15 frames of any size, 15 brood frames of any size. So I've just filled this up, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and one there, 17. 17 frames, and there's some space on the top. So I'm not sure how that goes. So what I might do we'll run this one through, and then on the next one through, I've got a load of super frames as well. So we'll do half brood and we'll do half super, but we'll put a load of junk wax underneath the super ones to bring them up to the same level. So all we've got to do now is get this into this. Let's do that. Feel the steam come out of that, so when that is properly boiling, you need to be a bit careful of that when you first open it. Right, and then that just sits in that way around. Sits in that tray, and then what I said about these are hooked, so these just then fall down like that, and that is that. Right, we'll see how that gets on. So it's been 15 minutes. It's now 11:15. There's no wax coming out of there yet, and what I have done as well, I have changed from that chocolate box to a bucket, because with that many frames in there, I don't know how much wax is going to come out on this first one. So I've gone for a bucket because obviously I don't want to overspill on those to start with. So there we go. So just leave that now and see how we get on. Okay, so I didn't really get a chance. I went off to lunch, and when I come back, it was pretty much done, which is around about that 90-minute mark, hour and a half. So that was probably about an hour and a half with hot water in it. So how much longer that would have taken if that had been cold water in it, I don't know. But we've got the next lot loaded up. It was really simple. Let me put this in, and then I'll talk to you. So what I've done this time is I can't remember, it's about 10 to 15 frames in there. I'll put a load of loose wax in there, and this time I've just put some on the top, and we'll see how that goes. So this is the second lot around. There's plenty of water in there, and it is 20 to 2. A recap. So what happened there was when it was ready, I looked inside, it was ready. I'll show you the frames in a moment. I literally pulled the basket out, I put it into one of my trays, just put it in there. I emptied out all the frames, give them a quick scrape as I took them out, just get the slum gum off. And the beauty of this than any other system I've had, I just literally took that whole basket then over to the compost heap, shook it out, give it a quick scrape, and being that thick stainless steel, it was easy to scrape. So give it a quick scrape, chuck that in there, back in here. It took no time at all, so really pleased with that. Right, so the next lot's in. Let's see how that lot goes. And this was it. So this was the pile of frames that come out. And I have to say, I mean, obviously I did give them a very quick knock off with the with a hive tool as I was pulling them out, but they've come out really clean. So yeah, pleased with that. The next lot's in. So that second batch must have come out in about 10 minutes. That started to pour, and that's really pouring well now. So all we do now is wait for that to turn to water, and we'll get the next lot in. But we've got to get the next lot ready, which I think we can do. I think we've got a load over there that's ready to go. It's just a case of getting through all these boxes and steam what we can, get it clean, get it put away, and just, oh, you know the score. It's just the cleanup, isn't it? It's the winter cleanup. Right, let's carry on. Okay, so the wax has stopped coming out then for this one. So open this up. Careful when you open it, because it does then get steam burned. Right, and then we're going to lift this out and put it straight over there on the, make sure you have some sort of gloves on, straight over there onto the driveway. Fill that with water again. Again, it's surprising how much water you do need to put back in it. That's been the third bottle now, and what we've done 2 through. So I'm just going to clip that up like that, just to keep that heat in. And then we'll get this basket scraped. And then all we've got to do is take that lot around to the compost. So that was a really full basket. I don't know how many supers, probably around about 30 supers have gone in there, and a load of junk wax. And that took 16 minutes. And I noticed it was starting to come out. It's not pouring out yet, but it started. So that's quite quick, isn't it, after the first initial heat up. Right, so this one is just about done. It's just starting to see clear liquid that's coming out now, probably water. So I don't think there's much wax left in there. And that's taken, well, by the time I get in there, it would have been about half an hour for that one. So, and that I think was in there. When I take them out, I'll count them. I think it's about 30 supers and a load of junk wax. So this basket really does hold a lot. And we'll see what this one looks like, because I think the trick's going to be is just to fill the basket up. So that first basket load I did, probably could have got a load more in there. So I think the trick's going to be is to put it on first thing in the morning, take the dogs for a walk, have your breakfast, whatever you're going to do, and then come back to it and then just run through it through the day, because it's that initial cook up that takes the time. But once it gets going, it's brilliant. So I won't finish the review there. What we'll do, we'll have another day at it. So on my next day off, I'll do exactly that. We'll start early, we'll rattle it through, we'll get a few going through, and see how we get on. But yeah, so far quite impressed. Right, let's get this basket out. So as promised then, it's the weekend. We set the melter up before, so it was all ready. And then this morning when I got up, before I walked the dogs, I switched it on. And then it was exactly 1 hour, 20 minutes before the wax started pouring. But it and half attracted a lot of wasps. I can't believe the wasps this year. So this is it. We'll have all day today. We'll try and rotate through as many rotations as we possibly can, till either we run out of wax or run out of wax to melt, or we run out of daylight. So let's crack on. Right, so that's the first lot through. So we put this on this morning at 9 o'clock, and it's taken just over 2 hours for it to cook up, the all the wax to melt, for me to get rid of all the cocoons and all the slum gum, reload the basket and put it back in. It's taken just over 2 hours. It's now been 40 minutes. I've been away for a cup of tea. I don't know how long it's been like this, but it's been 40 minutes and that lot's done. So just rotate it through and get it done again. So we're into our groove now with this thing. It actually is, I'm really quite impressed with it. So the wax does start coming through within sort of about 20 minutes, but it's about an hour from putting basket in to taking basket out, clearing the basket, putting the next load in, ready for it to go. So what is obviously going to make this process so much quicker is the second basket. So I'll definitely be investing in one of those, because that way then you can have your basket ready. As soon as that basket comes out, the new basket goes in, and by the time you've messed around with that, chances are you're going to be ready just to keep going through, and you'll rotate them through so much quicker, which is obviously going to be less time and obviously less money with this the running cost. Okay, so that's another lot that's gone through. It's finished, it's gone clear. So what I've worked out as a bit of a top tip, it takes one about 1.5 bottles of water topped up in there, maybe just a bit more, sometimes 2 bottles of water. So the time to top it up is top it up at the end of its cycle. So it's just about to finish. I had another full bucket of wax. So that was just slowing down. Tip that water in, takes it off the boil, stops that coming out the end of the tubes. It's just off the boil now. Allows you to swap the buckets over, and it allows you then to swap your baskets over, or you take your basket out. It won't blow up in your face and with steam when you open it, or as much. And then whilst you're changing the basket over, gives it a chance to cook itself up again. So let's get on with the next one. Okay, I just want to show you this. When you open this up, obviously you got a lot of steam come out. But this little thing at the back is quite clever. So we'll just let the steam come out and the water drip. And then can you see that piece of metal at the back of the lid? It's all steamed up, isn't it? Hang on. So this piece of metal here at the back of the lid, when you open the lid, all the water drains down there and goes back into the tank without spilling over the side. So that's quite cool. Right, let's get this basket out. So this is definitely where this steamer comes into its own and puts it head and shoulders above everything else I've ever done. It's the amount of wax and the amount of frames you can get in that basket. It says 15 frames of any size that you can get in there. Well, it's more than that. If it's, well, national. In the national, I can get 17 brood frames in there, plus a load more frames on top of it. Now, because I didn't do that to start with, I'm not sure exactly how many I can get in there. But all that's in here at the moment is supers, and there's 34 super frames in there. And you think my supers are on castellated boxes with 10 frames in a box. That's like over 3 supers just in one load. And as you can see, there's room for a load of junk wax on the top. So the trick is with these boxes is just to fill them right up and make the most of it. But and also because it's that 1mm thick stainless steel, and it's these square holes which are not protruding. So when you rotate them through, you can scrape it up with a hive tool, no problem at all, and get the majority of all the rubbish out of it before you reload it up again. So really pleased with that. So in summary then, first off, value for money. Is it worth its money? Hell yeah. This is a really, really good piece of kit for a reasonable price. So again, Techtron UK has seen me right, because it is a good bit of kit. The plus points are just the sheer size and the amount of wax you can get through in one go. A second basket, so would definitely be. It depends how much you've got to actually do. For me, with my operation, a second basket is going to be a godsend. So, yep, another great piece of kit from Techtron UK. Thoroughly recommend this. Definitely something you want in your beekeeping arsenal. And yeah, thanks again to Darius and Techtron UK. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something from it, and we'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.